tweaking.
Right, no, man.
They're
No.
wild, bro. They're funny though. So I don't know where I saw it, but this is not an original topic of mine. I'm not gonna act like it is. Which I'm pretty sure people across Earth have thought about this before. So today we will be discussing what if instead of getting played by Joffrey, because Cersei was actually going to let him go to the wall, right? She was going to let him go to the wall. Joffrey is the one that said, fuck it. Like, just cut his head off. So if Cersei had more control over her child and Ned ends up getting sent to the wall, in what ways does this change the Game of Thrones, the show? Not necessarily the game that is played.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts. Whoever wants to go first, y'all can go first.
Yeah, I think that this was interesting for me because I immediately thought about the turmoil that Arya went through while she was the last Stark left for real. We wouldn't get the cold-blooded assassin that we got. You know what I mean? Because now you don't lose your dad. He's now at the wall with John. And that then opens up other doors because then John doesn't have to necessarily step up the way that he did either for the North. Like it opens the possibilities up for us to not have had it so hard as far as like the North goes, obviously, with this dude still being alive, because he still has the ability to make it back. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like yeah, you're banished essentially for the wall, but what it was that we were faced with, it wasn't stand on the wall. You know what I mean?
No, Ned would have 1,000,000% stayed on the wall. This is the most honorable nigga ever in probably any iteration of fiction. He literally was so honorable. He got mad at Jaime. He doesn't fuck with Jaime. He doesn't fuck with Jaime for a number of reasons. But he doesn't fuck with Jaime because Jaime betrayed his king, even though his king was a genocidal idiot. Jaime literally made a joke of it. He was like, would you respect me more if I stabbed the Mad King in the stomach rather than in the back? He was going to blow King's Landing to smithereens. And Ned doesn't give a fuck about that. Ned was honorable to the point where it annoyed me at times. He to him, honor, like law is law to Ned. So yes, his ass would have stayed on the wall. I think. Well, Jermaine, you can go first because I'll go last.
I don't know how the story would have played out with the White Walkers, because to exactly what you're saying, with Ned being the way that he is, not saying that John isn't an honorable person, because he is, but he's more accepting of new things. More
and
accepting of
bending.
Exactly. Where the reason that shit was tough for him is because because he was such a stand-up nigga, and coming from the lineage that he comes from, niggas hated that, right? Yeah. Him being a bastard and all this shit, but he still got the same respect because he worked hard and this, that, and the third, so niggas was jealous. But it also was the fact that he was pushing the agenda for less team with the wildlings and less band together for this thing that's coming that I know is coming, this, that, and the third, but you know, niggas don't believe me type shit. So it's like, it's because he pushed those boundaries. I don't know if Ned would have pushed them boundaries. Him being as old as he would have been, in the situation he would have been in, I definitely think he would have tried to do something against Cersei and them, because he would have still known what he knows, right? That this whole situation is fraudulent. It's not how it's supposed to be.
So you think he wouldn't have respected being at the wall, not in the sense of necessarily what James is saying, but like you feel like he still would have went against the Lannisters in some capacity?
In some capacity, yes. Especially him, I think him understanding who he is to the North, I think he would have still tried to corral them in a certain way. Maybe he would have aligned more with Rob in a certain way or different things like that. I'm not sure.
Well, see, that's the big, and that's why I was waiting to go last to see if any of y'all brought up Rob, because to me that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing of where we go with this whole hypothetical.
Yeah,
is what happens to Rob.
Yeah,
because Rob only went to war because they killed his dad.
Yeah.
Now, the plan for them was to hold Cersei anyway, or Sansa, because they needed her for the North.
Yeah.
And if you wed her, then you take her last name and you get the North or whatever. But Rob's tricky because does Rob go to war simply because they have Sansa and Arya? Because if his dad's alive and he just got sent to the wall with Jon, then what do? Does Rob try to go to the wall to see what Ned's temperature on it is? Does, like Jermaine is saying, does Ned say, fuck all of that and go to Rob? He just says, like, he leaves the wall because you got the Starks damn near essentially own the wall, right? The Starks have manned the wall since its construction. They have the blood of the first men. Does Ned go to the wall, break down the situation to Mormont, because Mormont is Lord Commander, and Mormont is like, all right, you can go. He goes to Rob, and now it's Ned leading the war. Rob's just a general.
Exactly. Because it's easy for Rob. It's easy for Rob to call.
Then the Red Wedding doesn't happen, by the way. But go ahead.
It's easier for Rob to call the banners of the men of the North when the head of the North has been killed. If the head of the North is not killed, even if he's wronged in a way, now you don't necessarily know, at least from you. So it would have to take Ned to galvanize. And does he do that?
Okay, so this route, I feel like ends very quickly, and I'm gonna tell you why. For real, I think the series ends way quicker. Well, not the series because they still got to do everything else, but the War of Five Kings. And let me tell you why. Because Ned is so honorable. What was the play that he tried to make? He tried to make Stannis king. So what does Ned do? I think Ned, if he goes the route we're saying, he goes to the wall, he gets either permission or just says fuck it and leaves, whatever. He leaves the wall because, like you're saying, Jermaine, he does know what's going on in the kingdom, and like he ain't gonna let that shit slide or whatever. He knows Stannis is the rightful ruler. So he calls banners because he's a message got sent to Stannis anyway. That doesn't change.
Yeah.
Stannis is now going to call banners and go to war. Stannis almost took King's Landing by himself anyway. Now, granted, that was because the North was winning and they had the Lannister forces depleted, and so Stannis attacked. Then the Lannister forces got there last second, but they really only hit like that because they had the Tyrell forces join them as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what if Ned teams up with Stannis to put Stannis on the Iron Throne, and now it's a different version of the Baratheon and Stark Rebellion?
Well, that's completely different because if we just going based off of what we know, if Rob was able to move the way that he was able to move with, what the fuck you think Ned gonna do?
Nigga, Ned, no. Rob, Ned, Stannis.
That's what I'm saying. Like Ned
they win.
Ned is far more.
They win.
Far more calculated. Far more cold. He's been through the shit. He knows.
Yes,
what the
he
fuck
took the shit already.
He knows what to do.
He took this shit already, and because Rob is so smart, they're gonna listen to him.
Yeah,
they're gonna. Yeah. The plans that he made, Ned's gonna listen. There's no way he shuts him down. No way.
No.
No. And so. That's why I said I think this route that we go, it's not even the most interesting one. But I think this one ends quickly because I think if Rob was able to damn near win, if he never lost a battle, he was inexperienced. If Stannis again was able to damn near win, the Lannisters got off by the skin of their teeth a lot. I think a situation where banners is called and they follow Stannis because Rob would. they wouldn't have declared for a king in the North like they did when Ned died and stuff like that. Like Ned dying catapulted that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think they do that. I think Ned knows that Stannis is about to be the rightful ruler, because that was one of the reasons that Stannis' council tried to get him to side with Robb. They were like, team up with Robb, that way you have the numbers to overthrow Renly. And he was like, no, because he's declaring himself king in the North. He's going to steal the biggest part of my kingdom. That's not going to happen with Ned still alive. Ned's just going to go under Stannis. Yeah. And so all three of them together, his forces with the North, I think they kill the Lannisters fairly quickly.
Yeah. And then the biggest thing, for me at least, is, like I said, what do you do about the White Walkers in this situation now?
And then at that point, and this is, go ahead, James, go ahead.
No, so that was interesting to me as well, because with Ned there, his word, this dude being the honorable dude that he is, you sending a message out requesting more soldiers, this being the case and what it is that we're faced with. I don't necessarily know that, like, obviously he's not going to go against how he's written as a character and team up with White Walkers, but we'll have the support that we need from either King's Landing or Stannis, or just whoever we need at that point, because now it's just that serious, you know what I mean? And so whenever I feel like Ned being who he is just speaks volumes, and that would have gave us what we need. And then after we're really matched with they're reviving the dead, then it's like, okay, well something has to give. Something has to give with with the Wildings. I don't know how we make that turn, but
too.
So wait, so real quick, I want to say, James, I don't know if you noticed, but you flipped Wildlings and Wild Walkers.
Oh, yes.
And I was confused for a second, but then I didn't want to cut you off. You flipped them.
Got you.
Because I know there's probably people listening. Because if it's one thing that I found out, hard body on Twitter, these Game of Thrones niggas do not play about.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
they do not play about the right source material. You got to know what you're talking about. So my nigga knew what he was talking about. He just had to shit switched. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead, Jermaine, though, before I get to my point.
I was going to say, too, it's not. I think it's more. It's more than just the wildlings too, because you got to think Daenerys also comes into this fold.
Bro, yes, that's all later though. Like, that's all later. I was strictly talking about the War of Five Kings.
I know, but I'm talking. If you're looking at the White Walker situation, right? The wildlings play a part. Daenerys also plays a part. Jon had to go in front of Daenerys and align himself with her. Does Ned do that?
Fuck no.
Does Ned look at it the same? I don't know.
You're getting ahead. You're getting ahead. That ties into the more realistic version of what happens. And so I was kind of going to get to that. Because I love that you went there. So this is why I say that. If you're being realistic and you're going chronological with what happens in the show, part of what we're saying is possible, but then part of it is not. Because timeline-wise, Ned gets his head chopped off in episode 9. Right? In episode 10, Jon and them go out to their first like ranging thing. They go on their first mission because Benjen went missing, and his crew didn't come back, and Mormont basically was like, all right, we finna go figure this shit out for ourselves. Like, what's going on, right? In the time it's going to take Ned, because it's however many months ride, in the time it's going to take Ned to get from King's Landing to the wall, Jon and them niggas will already be gone. Mormont, all of them niggas. The only person that's going to be at Castle Black is going to be Maester Aemon and, like, Alistair, right? Them niggas not going to question Ned. And for one, they're not Lord Commander. So if he wants to big dog them, he can. I don't think that'll be the case. I don't think it'll be more of a situation of, yo, this is what's going on out there. I know y'all don't give a fuck because y'all are committed to the wall. But the reason I think, because when Mormont is not there, it seems like Maester Aemon is in charge. Not even Alistair. Alistair was in charge after Mormont died for a small portion. And he wasn't even really in charge. He was just a head dude until they voted and they picked Jon, right? But who made calls? Who made bigger moves? Who made or gave advice to sway situations? It was Maester Aemon. The night before Jon left, Maester Aemon said, "I'm not going to tell you whether you stay or go. But I'm going to tell you how I feel about the situation." But he was going to let him go. He for sure would have told Ned the same thing, if not been like, "Just go," right?
Yeah.
So I say that because Ned now leaves the wall. He goes to the wall, tells Maester Aemon this, or whoever, right? Gets the blessing to leave, or just says fuck it and leave. But he leaves going with the mindset of me and my Bannerman and Robb are about to fight with Stannis to take the kingdom back. But also in the back of his mind, or probably shit in the front of his mind, he got word from Maester Aemon that they just went out on a conquest because it sounded like some fuck shit going on. A dead man was literally in Castle Black.
Mm-hmm.
And to him, he gonna know that shit's not a game. Because he knows about all the histories. And in episode 1, when they were talking about the White Walkers, when the dude that he beheaded was talking about the White Walkers, he was like, a crazy man or a dead man sees what a dead man sees, whatever he said. And then he told Bran, like, they've been gone for thousands of years. But now he would know that they're back. And so in his mind, I got to go handle this right now. I got to wait till they get back to see what's going on, right? And why I bring this up, mainly for Jermaine, your point, is because what happens while Jon is gone is so important. Because Jon doesn't come back initially.
Yeah.
Jon, the shit with Half Hand happens. He then gets taken under the wing of the Wildlings. He then comes back. They then have the battle for Castle Black. And then after the battle for Castle Black, in the beginning of season 5, Jon gets made the Lord Commander. So all that stuff is still going to happen. Because the War of Five Kings was still going on. The War of Five Kings, the Lannisters will lose. I don't think it'll be... I'm not saying they get quickly dealt with, because instead of having their forces spread and fighting multiple different things, they're all going to be fighting on one front now against this one united front of Stannis, Robb, and whoever. And then they'll probably go to the Tyrells earlier. So they'll get a bigger, you know what I mean? But then you have to look at it from the aspect of, if all of that shit with Jon and them happens anyway, then when Ned comes back, when Jermaine was saying he doesn't know if Ned's more inclined to like rock with Dany and that, I don't think it matters, because I think Jon's still Lord Commander and Jon does what Jon does.
Okay, got you.
And if Jon is Lord Commander and Jon chooses to let the Wildlings through, I don't think Ned's gonna have an issue with that. Not for the reasons that he not for what just happened. Stannis was gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
He's not going to question the king. He's definitely not going to question if it's his son and his son is risen to Lord Commander. And this is Ned we talking about. He's going to respect the fact that Jon rose essentially from nothing and became Lord Commander. And now Lord Commander, knowing that these fucking White Walkers are coming, there's going to be more we got to deal with. So I don't know what's going on. But that's the more realistic aspect of it. I think the most tricky part is Dany, because what the fuck do they do now? Dany. I don't think Dany's on no peaceful shit, bro. Not in this situation, because I don't think Ned is on no peaceful shit. Because Ned hates the Targaryens.
Well, and I mean,
well, then we know. Well, at least Ned can relay who Jon really is at that point. So then it's family.
No. Because Jon is the rightful ruler.
I was about to say his situation
man,
wouldn't change. Yeah, that scenario wouldn't change.
No,
that scenario wouldn't change.
There's not a hypothetical or a theory or any aspect of Game of Thrones where Ned ever reveals who Jon is, ever. Because it's not like It's not like he was just a Targaryen. He was the fucking rightful heir to the throne. That changes everything. It's not like he was just a Targaryen baby. No, he was the heir.
But even revealing it to Jon, even to Jon himself, no, never.
Jon, but I mean,
I
like,
don't even think so.
Public.
I don't even think he tells Jon.
I'm thinking like in public.
No, for sure not.
For sure not in public. You don't think he would tell
Definitely
John?
not.
I don't think so.
I think he would. I think he would. What we're faced with, and then
because
Daenerys comes into play.
John didn't want power. He didn't give a
He
fuck.
don't want that. Yeah.
I don't think John would trip. I think he would tell John, and John would be like taken aback and like, what the fuck is going on? But I don't think John ever makes a play for the throne. Like John did, he didn't want none of that shit. He didn't care.
Yeah.
And two, how does if all this plays out the same and John is still going to be John and approaches Daenerys in the same way, how do they interact now? Because the whole thing was I give, you give, right? Mm-hmm. If you help us with this situation, we'll fully back you over the takeover of King's Landing. But if Ned is now alive and puts all this shit in motion to where Stannis sits the throne, well, hold on now. It's not the Lannisters on the throne. It's the rightful person. And it's somebody who I'm not only aligned with, but I'm connected with through his brother and all this shit. We ain't just about to give you the throne.
So they're gonna have to go to war with him.
They're gonna have to fight. Yeah. They're gonna have to fight.
Yeah, because he's right.
They're gonna have to fight.
Yeah.
And
Danny only agreed because he agreed to give her the throne.
Exactly. So now how does that also affect the White Walker situation? I'm still on that situation.
Fuck.
Because now both of those fronts are different. The White Walkers now have to be dealt with without Daenerys, and you still have to deal with Daenerys.
Do you think a united Seven Kingdoms stops Daenerys when she crosses? That's the only conversation now. Because then
Daenerys with 3 dragons?
Yes.
Because if she don't get involved with Jon, she don't lose the one to the White Walker.
Yeah.
Daenerys with 3 fully grown dragons?
Okay. No, see, I can't even make that play. I was gonna say maybe Jon still claims one, but the main reason that is not the case is because what I think is what happens, because Ned's not gonna leave the wall unmanned. I think because they already made a plea for more men, so I think they give a big amount of their forces to the wall. I do. Not so much to where it fucks everything off, but I think a big enough forces to where they can handle themselves, and especially if Jon lets the wildlings through, he gets the wildling army. They will fight for that nigga. They were gonna fight. They fought for him. Actually, I'm tripping. They fought for him. So Jon gets the wildling army. He'll probably get a good amount of men from Stannis and them. I was gonna say maybe Jon can still grab a dragon, but no, because Jon, he would leave. He's Lord Commander, so he would leave him there to deal with the wall. And obviously we're considering him not being betrayed by Alistair and them niggas. Cool. I don't think that happens if Ned is there. I think Ned, it's King of the North, bro. He was the King of the North without being King of the North. Whatever that nigga say go. But maybe because it's the Game of Thrones. But we're talking about it in the aspect of they don't backstab Jon. So I think they leave Jon there. Here's what I think, and I'm surprised neither one of y'all brought this up. Dorne gets involved, and Dorne allies with the Seven Kingdoms forces. I think because now Oberyn doesn't die.
Yeah.
Because that shit don't last 4 seasons, bro. It don't last 4 seasons, and Oberyn died at the end of season 4. The war, at least, it doesn't last 4 seasons, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, like, the stuff with the wall still happens because, like, the war goes in a certain way. But if Oberyn's entire motivation was to kill Tywin Lannister, even if you remove everything that we just talked about, if Oberyn's goal the entire time was to kill the Mountain and have him admit it was Tywin and then kill Tywin, he was going to start a war between Dorne and the Lannisters anyway. So at that point, Dorne would join Stannis and Ned. They're now even if they don't, they would 1,000,000% unite with Dany crossing, because just like we learned in the show, Dorne was the only show to ever or was the only kingdom, country, whatever, to not succumb to the dragon power of Aegon. Tywin literally told Oberyn, he was like, when he offered him a spot on the council, he was like, Oberyn was like, you need us. It's funny, like you're asking for me to be on the council because you need us. And Tywin was like, the reality of the situation is this, bro. This Targaryen bitch got 3 real dragons. We thought it was fake, but she got 3 dragons. She got an army of Dothraki, unsullied. We gonna need y'all when she pull up because y'all were the only ones to not get overthrown by Aegon when he pulled up. And we are not the 7 kingdoms until Dorne is united again. I think Stannis and Ned unite Dorne against Daenerys. Yeah. And I think, I don't know if they win that, bro.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
That's so tough because she does keep all 3. And she's not going to have half a mind to give these niggas chances low key. Like Tyrion was in her ear. She's going to be on full war timing. Tyrion was trying to have her piece her way through that shit.
Oh, yeah.
She coming for her throne, bro. And they're not going to give her that shit. Jermaine is absolutely right. I don't think Ned gives her the throne at all. Especially, like, I think if the Lannisters were on the throne, I think, say, Stannis died or some shit, maybe. Because in his mind, Targaryens have a better claim. The Lannisters never had a claim. And she's a Targaryen, but she's not. It's not a sins of the father type of thing with Ned, maybe. So, who do y'all think Ned would rather side with? I think Ned would rather have Daenerys on the throne than the whatchamacallits, than the Lannisters. The Lannisters tried to kill his family. She did.